Aufgestanden. Wann sind Sie aufgestanden? When did you get
Woke
up? When did you get up? So, when did you get up? When have you gotten up?
Yeah.
So, now fill in the blanks in the right form. So, look at the question and how if somebody asks you, even in English, all right, when did you get up? So, when
Did you get?
have you gotten up? Okay. Now, what are you then going to then say?
I got up.
I
5:30.
I have gotten up at, and then you're going to give the time.
Right.
Okay.
German, we should get the time, the starting. So, ich,
Yes.
ja, ich habe 6
No.
aufgestanden. Or ich bin.
Okay. Ich bin 6 aufgestanden. And here what is happening? We put the element of time before.
Yeah.
So we're going to then say, ich bin 6 aufgestanden. Okay, now, wie weit weg ist Ihr Büro von zu Hause? Yeah.
How far is your office from your house?
That is correct. Okay, now answer.
Yeah. We can also say it is assist. Assist 10 kilometer.
Es ist 5 Kilometer.
5 kilometer wide weg.
Right.
Also.
That's all that you need to say. Yeah, weit weg. Okay. It's 5 kilometer weit weg is the perfect answer. Okay, now wie pendeln Sie? Wie pendeln Sie?
What is pendant? I don't remember pendant.
You do not remember pendant because you have not used it so far. But then the thing is, it is basically a very common word. So now, first is, keep lingua open when you are with me. Okay, you are in the process of learning. So keep lingua open at all times. So here we are, we go to lingua. And we then come here and then we then say pendel. Pendel is then going to be, look at the first one which is capitalized, look at the one which is a verb. It then says to commute, to shuttle. So, question is, how do you commute to work? How do you shuttle to work? Mundarki vanikalta. Rendodi, look at the word and what does it remember? Tell you? Pendulum. Close to pendulum. And take to and fro. Mundarki vaniki.
Okay.
So think of it like that, swinging. Okay, so pendulum. So we, now question is, wie pendeln Sie? Wie pendeln Sie zur Arbeit? So you can then put zur Arbeit, to work. How do you commute to work? Yeah, answer?
Ich pendel mit dem Auto.
Okay, ich pendle mit dem Auto. Perfect. And you will then add the word zur Arbeit. Not necessary, but if you do, it is better. Okay, so this is then going to be, wie pendeln Sie zur Arbeit? Right. Now, move onwards. Your turn. Can you now try and then give me a couple of questions? So, now, Like now, let us then say,
Wir wohnen Sie.
ich wohne in einer Wohnung, in einer Wohngebäude. I live in a flat.
Okay.
Now, how will you ask? So, how would you ask somebody, how many children do you have?
Okay. Wie viele Kinder
Hmm.
Wie viele Kinder hast du, or maybe we should start with hast du.
Bus, that's it. Hast du, that is a different one. Hast du Kinder is, do you have children? How many children do you have? Wie viele Kinder hast du? Okay, ich habe 2 Töchter. I have 2 daughters. Right. So now, now what else can we then ask? Common kind of this one. Okay. Now, arbeitet deine Frau? Arbeitet deine Frau?
It means does your wife work?
Yes, that is correct.
9.
Okay, so 9. Okay, so she is a homemaker. You can use the English term for this. You can just say she's a homemaker. Okay. Sie ist homemaker. Now, right. Now, a little bit further. So a few more questions, generalized questions, basically trying to get into the conversation, this one. So here is a very, very common form of asking, is there or are there? So, gibt es eine Bushaltestelle in der Nähe? Gibt es eine Bushaltestelle in der Nähe?
Where is the next bus stop?
Nearest.
Nearest. Okay.
In the vicinity. Is there a bus stop in the vicinity?
Okay.
Word for word translation. This is then going to be the elements of the sentence. Is there a bus stop in the vicinity?
Yeah, in the vicinity, a bus stop. But gift is give, isn't it? Or?
No, it is not. This is exactly what I'm saying. This is a phrase.
Oh, okay.
Okay, gibt es.
Okay,
So it is then going to be, this can be used for singular and plural.
Mm-hmm.
This is then going to be, is there or are there? You will find that it is one of the most frequently used verbs in the entire German language. Very, 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 very often. Okay, so here for example, let us now then come here. Now, at the very beginning, we have this one. So here, let's then take an example. Now, where is this?
Es gibt, in the first line we have, es gibt auch einen Garten.
Yes. There is also a garden. Okay. So, in the garden, there is much work. Okay. Then, in the house, there are 2 bathrooms. So it is being used for the plural form also. Okay, so then you're then going to say, so there is a comfortable sofa. Now, There is also a chimney in the living room.
What is the difference between giftes and S-gift? Or we can use either way.
No, it is not like that. Basically, you have just learned about construction of sentences and you have already forgotten the basic. The basic is the verb in the second position.
Yeah.
So where you are going to begin the sentence, it is then going to be as gift.
Okay.
Whereas here you have an element of place. Place mundra vastundi. Andukuni, it is going to reverse itself. So here also you're having an element of place. Time, manner, and place. So if an element other than the subject is then coming outside, okay, the verb is then going to be in its normal place, and the rule number 2, the subject must come immediately after the verb.
Okay.
So here gibt es zwei Badezimmer. There are 2 bathrooms, okay, in the house.
Okay.
Like that. So this is going to be, that means in the house there are 2 bathrooms. There are 2 bathrooms in the house. Es gibt zwei Badezimmer im Haus. Okay. So now, so this then continues over here. So you are then going to get this continue with this one. So as I said, it's one of the very, very frequently used ones. Es ist sehr groß, and then have in der Küche gibt es eine Spülmaschine. Okay, so, and then in der sehr gemütlich, ich mag in der Küche ist auch ist and so forth. Yeah. Es gibt dort keine Waschmaschine. So there you are. This is, you can see the number of times it is used in this one. So typical, this is typical German, and they always go together. You don't find one without the other. Geben is a separate one. Gibt es. Now, what will be, this is in the present tense. For past tense, it is going to be gab. Geben becomes ich gebe, du gibst, gibt. Sie gibt, es gibt. Now, from wir geben and ihr gebt. Now, having said that, that is the present tense. So, ich gab, du gabst, gab, sie gab, es gab. So, there is also a garden, but there was also a garden. Es gab auch einen Garten. That is then going to be the simple past tense over here. Yes, I think I'm going a little bit too fast. You seem to be, because I thought you're absorbing everything, but okay, we will slow down a little bit. Okay, so this is then going to be gibt es eine Bushaltestelle in der Nähe. So these are, you have to think of them as Germanisms. Okay, something which is typically German, this is how they are going to put it. Okay. Even in English, we can use is there or are there. So it's something that we are going to be using quite frequently in conversation. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, so this is then going to be about this one. All right. Now, last we have done a little bit about, 2 things. One is complex sentences, how they are then going to be there, and something about this coordinating conjunctions and all that. So let us then have a look at this one over here. So now, for example, wir fahren in den Urlaub, mein Vater, meine Mutter, and what is then going to come here? Und is perfectly correct. It is then going to be and I. So then, ich komme nicht in der Schule.
Weil ich bin krank.
No, son, weil ich krank bin. While is a subordinating conjunction, the verb has to go to the last.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is then going to be weil ich krank bin. Okay. Ich habe 2 Hunde. Sie heißen Helmut
und Franz.
So this is a coordinating conjunction. Okay. Meine Freundin is intelligent.
Groß und schön.
Unschön. Okay. So is then going to be und, also coordinating one. Dash den
Hello. 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 I can't hear you.
All right, you can continue with the recording. Right. So here we are. So this is then going to, we have then completed this one. So this is then going to be one which you are then going to be using either or. So in English, we have what is then called as an Dorschein under pronoun. So we call this as a special type of pronoun. We don't study this at A2 level, but all you need to then understand is going to be
Entweder oder.
entweder, then entweder
Oder.
den roten oder den blauen Kaufer. Okay, so here what we need to understand is red is then going to be having the one roten. So Koffer is then going to be masculine. Okay, so we then say den roten, oder we then say den blauen. It should be blauen Koffer. I don't know why they've written blaue. Okay, so now ich kann nur einen mitnehmen. I can only take one with me. Okay, now continue. Wir wissen noch nicht wohin.
Okay.
These stupid things that entweder nach Spanien oder nach Frankreich. Okay, so this is going to be this one which will come here. All right, so when you completed this, you can always then go and here have a look at view all exercises of conjunctions, or you can just check answers.
Yeah.
So check answers is then going to give you what you have then done so far. Okay, so now again.
Ich komme nicht in die Schule, weil ich krank bin.
Absolutely. So mein
Mein
Bruder.
Bruder geht nicht in die Schule, weil krank ist.
Okay, weil krank.
Ich weiß nicht, dass uns meine Mutter beschützt. It is when.
Wann.
Wann. Okay.
Wann uns meine Mutter besucht. I don't know when my mother will visit us. Okay, next one.
Ich schlafe. Telefon. Wann ich schlafe? When I sleep.
No. when I sleep, the phone rings. That means I can't sleep at all. So it's going to be während. Während ante telephone mogindi.
Okay.
Während ich schlafe, and then you're going to get this one here. So it's going to be während ich schlafe. Right, next one. Der Zug
nicht zu hohe Schnee liegt. Weil zu hohe Schnee liegt.
Yeah, while zu hoch Schnee liegt. Not liked, it is going to be liegt. Padunnadi. Chala snow padunnadi.
Okay.
So so you then say der Schnee liegt sehr hoch. The snow is lying very high. Okay. Number 6.
When I was 16, ich zum ersten Mal nach England. We visited England or?
Okay. Als ich 16 war, reiste ich zum ersten Mal nach England. So as I was 16 years old, we then traveled to England.
Okay.
Right. Now let us then come back over here. Yesterday I have written down a small note saying, reminder to myself saying we are going to talk about trennbare Verben and Modal Verben. So when we were then talking about verbs, we then have seen that when you're doing this present perfect, you then had this one coming in like this. So we then used up weak verbs and strong verbs and mixed verbs and auxiliary verbs, but it didn't have anything to do with the modal verbs. The modal verbs are obviously, there are 6 of them, and they're having a special place of their own. So what happens in the case of a modal verb? In the case of a modal verb, when it came out Hindi, there are 6 of them, and quite often what happens, they have got 4 of them are then having two meanings over there. And the meanings can be quite close to one another. So, like here, we then say, können is then dürfen is then may or be permitted to. So, like now, if you remember in your school days, when you are late for class for any reason, we stand outside and then we say, Madam or Sir, can we then come in? So it says, the person then says, yes, you can, but you may not. Today they're trying to emphasize the difference between can and may. Can is showing the ability to do something. Okay, so can I open the door? Yes, you can, but you may not. Teravgalutana, navella avutunda annattu prashna. So there are certain ones. So können is also then going to have that. One is then going to be having some kind of a situation like this in mind. Okay. Now, mögen is only having this one like. Müssen is also a very confusing one where people often make mistakes. One is going to be have to and must. They are not exactly identical, but they're nearby. But still there is a difference between must and have to. Okay. So now sollen is then should or ought to, and then you have wollen, which is going to be want to. Now what happens, the first thing is whenever you are using this one, it is always going to be the 2 verbs are going to be coming for sure. Okay, so it's going to be a compound verb form. The second verb is mostly going to be in the infinite form. Ich muss jetzt gehen. I have to go. Gehen. Okay. Ich muss okay. Instead of muss, ich soll. Okay, ich will mein Handy suchen. I want to search for my handy. To search. Suchen. Like this, we are then going to be putting it in like that. Now, right. So first thing now when we are then doing that, so this is then going to be the form which is going to take place. Now, now here, this is then going to, these things have got certain things which are specific to them. So the two verbs when it comes, this one will always take the place of the second, it will take the second position. It is going to be the active verb. The other one is pushed to the end of the sentence, always. So if I have a choice between this one, it is rare. You cannot find this moving to the end of the sentence. It will always be the active verb. First one. Number one. Number two is that they're going to have a particular form. Okay. So they're going to have a particular form which is then going to be in the present tense. So usually when you're having any kind of a conjugation, so you're going to then say, you're going to have the form of E, and then in the case of ish, do, st, and then arcs, you're going to have a T. Okay? There are three different forms in the singular form, in the singular itself. Here, we find that it is going to be the same. For singular, you have one form. For the plural, you have another form. The do is then going to add its st, and the plural of the do, the ear, is going to add its t. That is for sure. Okay, so this is how it is then going to look like. What you need to do is, you're going to put this one into a small piece of paper and stick it near your computer when you are using it, till such time as you are able to remember. Dürfen is the plural form, darf is going to be the singular form. So I will then say, ich darf, du darfst, darf. The form doesn't change. This stem is going to remain identical throughout. Now, ich kann, du kannst, kann. The kann doesn't change at all. Okay, then it is then going to be ich mag, du magst, und mag. So also with müssen and sollen and wollen, the will. So the form is going to change, and you must remember, when you come to the plural form, we're going to say wir dürfen, wir können, wir mögen, wir müssen, and wir sollen, and wir wollen. So then, this is obviously, the other one is the ear. So in the case of the ear, I remove this one and I put ihr dürft, ihr könnt, ihr mögt, ihr müsst. You're going to put with the umlaut. The umlaut is going to tell that it is going to be the plural form. Ihr sollt and ihr wollt. So this is then going to be the form which it is going to take in the case of the plural samad. Right. So now we come down. So apart from this, this is one of the eccentric response. So first thing that you understand is, when the meaning is clear according to the context, then you can omit something. Like now, suppose you want to say, ich muss morgen nach Delhi fahren. Tomorrow I have to travel to Delhi. Okay. So ich muss morgen nach Frankfurt, or ich muss morgen nach Delhi. Tomorrow I have to go. The go can be omitted because it is automatically going to be understood. So we simply say, morgen muss ich nach Delhi. That gain is not added over there. So here also, suppose now somebody is asking you, now you've got a contextual situation. Evandy, meeku German telsa. So, können Sie Deutsch? Können Sie Deutsch? Then sprechen, schreiben, verstehen, lesen, all that is then going to be implied. It is not depending on the situation. Evandy me matlada vachandi, the sprechen is there. Cheppina tappu ledu, cheppakapoyina tappu ledu.
Okay.
Okay. Now the second one, this is where it is contextual and it is understood. You can skip the second verb, so to speak. Okay. Now comes the next one, the word mögen. This is something which people fail to understand quite often, because there is something, when you come to verbs, basically verbs are a very, very strange lot. I'm not going to go too deep because, at an A2 level, you don't require it. You've understood that there are going to be tenses. This you've understood. It then has got what are called as voices. The voices, one is then going to be active, the other is going to be passive. So active and passive is like, I write the letter. The letter was written by me is then going to be passive, where the subject becomes the object becomes the subject and the subject becomes the object. Where you change things around, it is then possible to have active voices, active voice and passive voice. In addition to that, we have what are called as moods. Okay. Indicative, subjunctive, imperative. Imperative is fairly clear. Like when you are then trying to talk with, a person. Okay, so you're then going to say, all right, we're then going to say, okay, now we're then going to then say, okay, how shall we say, come, sit, eat, drink. It is basically going to be a command. When I'm using this kind of a command situation in the language, what happens, I take only the stem of the verb when I'm talking in the do form. Nuvvu and cheppi vadutunnappudu, only the stem of the verb is then going to be utilized. So, follow me a bit. I will. Whereas if I'm going to say miru, then I will then give the form of the folgenzimia. So, like now, suppose you are then going to a restaurant or a hotel and then you're asking the waiter, hey, I want a table for 2 people. So he says, okay, follow me. So, folgenzimia. So, if it is going to be a friend who's taking you around his house, he's then going to say, okay, follow me a bit. So, please follow me. So, you're going to then use it in the form of a command. That is then going to be known as an imperative. Come, sit, eat, drink, play, sleep, get up, get out. All this is then going to be imperative. Subjunctive is then going to be something which is going to be having some kind of a mood being attached to it. So here when you then come, you see here what it will say. The subjunctive form, which is, this implies probability, wishful thinking, or politeness. Ante, I want a cup of coffee. I would like to have a cup of coffee. Edi maniki politeness ochindi, would like to have. So this is then more appreciated in the German, this one. So we quite often use the word möchte for asking anything I would like. Would like ani German lo, English lo rendu padal vaadtene dani artham vastundi. It is not going to be simply like, but would like. It's then called as the subjunctive form over here. Okay, so every verb has got a subjunctive form, but this is the one which is most frequently used, and quite often people think that möchte happens to be a verb. It is not a verb, it is a form of the verb mögen. It comes from the modal verb mögen. Now, sollen and wollen are then going to take on a special idiomatic meaning of it is said, it is claimed, or they say, or it is alleged. Ekkada we say when we first had the news about Lalu Prasad Yadav being involved in a scam. Okay, what would they then say? Since he's a powerful person, they're then going to say, oh, so we then say, it is alleged that Mr. Lalu Prasad Yadav has diverted funds from the government to his personal account. It is alleged. Ante maaku telidandi kachithanga theriyadu aina ila cheppabadutunnadi. It is being said, it is being claimed. You understand?
Yeah.
So this is like when he say, for example, he claims to be wealthy. So it says, er will reich sein. It doesn't mean he wants to be rich, though that meaning also happens to be there. It is then going to be more of an idiomatic one. Idiomatic is then going to be where you are trying to express yourself and you're saying one thing and meaning something else. So, like for example, let us then say you and I are talking about our common friend, Mr. X. While we're talking about him, the fellow comes over there. So then what do we say? Think of the devil, and there he is. We were not thinking about the devil. And neither is our friend a devil. The fact is that he is. It's just one of those things. So it means what a coincidence. It is a way of expressing in a rich form, or in such a way that it emphasizes or highlights the fact that it is a coincidence. Okay, so also with this one. Now, quite often you see what happens when you are then saying, you must not do that. In German, because we have said you're going to have the word have to. See, it has got two meanings. We said must, the other we said is going to be have to. So when you are then trying to then say, du musst das nicht tun, you must not do that. You do not have to do that. It then takes on the meaning. Muss das nicht tun takes on the meaning he doesn't have to do that. Okay, so what they do is they're going to then say, darf das nicht tun. He is not permitted to do that. He may not do that. So we're going to change the meaning slightly over here. Right. Now, the last one. So here we have just spoken about the difference between can and may, where we have then said that it's the difference between asking permission to enter and then the other ability to do something. Right. So this is then going to be the first one. Now, kann nicht gehen, darf nicht gehen. So he may not go, he cannot go. So this is then going to be the one. Now when you come to the past tense, 99% of the time, we are going to be using only the simple past tense. We are not going to use the present perfect. Chala varaku. Very rare that you are going to use with the modals that you're going to use this. So in this past tense when it comes, you're going to find that this is going, though it is an irregular verb, it is going to behave like a regular verb. So what does it do? If you remember the simple past tense in the regular verbs, what are you supposed to do? Ravi.
Yeah.
What is the behavior of regular verbs when in the simple past tense? Em chestayavi?
We'll add TE.
We are going to add a TE.
Yeah.
We're going to put a TE. So too, in the case of this one, you're going to use the regular past tense marker TE to the stem of the verb. So now the stem of the verb. So like now when you come here, you're going to say darf. Okay, dürfen is then going to become durfte. The umlauts, whichever one is having an umlaut, everything will disappear in the simple past tense. Durfte. So now this is then going to be Ich durfte nach Hause gehen. I was permitted to go home. Okay. Now, ich konnte das nicht tun. I could not do that. Ich konnte. Du konntest, konnte. Wir konnten. The plural form is then going to come here, konnten. And ihr konntet. So umlauts will not come. This is only for indication over here. This is going to be the base template. Durfte, konnte, möchte, musste, sollte, and wollte. So the form of this, as you can see, everything comes with the TE. So ich is then going to then have the simple TE form. Ich konnte, ich durfte. But here, unlike in the present tense, the form changes. It's not going to be ich darf, ich durfte. So ich kann, ich konnte. So ich möchte with the umlaut and is then going to be here. There's no this one. You're going to use it as möchte for both of them. Möchte, ich möchte, and ich möge, and then you're going to have ich möchte. Müssen is then going to come with a musste and so forth. Now, since the English verb could has got two different meanings, it is important to be aware of the ones which you want to express in German. Now, usually could or can is going to be one of those where, as I said, one is going to be the ability to do that, the other is then an intention to do that. Okay, so it's then like now, for example, where should I go for my honeymoon? Oh, you could go to Kashmir. You could go to Kashmir. So that means you have the ability to do so, you have the choice to do so, but whether you do so or not is a question of choice over there. So you're going to then using that. So it's a possibility. So now, suppose now there is an elephant, and then say, do you think I could lift that elephant? So do you think that I will be able to do that? So Ani. So is there going to be there's a small difference between the two of them, and we're using this könnten form and then based on the past tense form. Ich konnte gehen, aber ob ich gehen werde, das müssen wir noch sehen. I could go, but we have to see whether I'm going to go. So now the modals are much less frequently used in the present perfect forms. So hat das gekonnt. This kind of stuff is rare, really rare. I have this. You really don't come across this much. Okay, so this is that which is then going to be with this particular one. Okay. Now, having completed the modals part, very quickly let us then try to understand what is then going to be trennbar and untrennbar. So there is going to be another category of verbs in which what happens, there is going to be, in English, we're going to then say, wake up, get up, fill out a form, to take place. So the wedding takes place at the Hotel Taj, take place. You're going to have a minimum of two words to then create the verb itself. And this is then to get together. To get together. So we are getting together. You cannot split those two words. They're going to be working together. I wake up, I woke up, I have woken up. The up doesn't change, but without the up, the wake is then going to be I wake, you wake, he wakes. That's something going to be not going to be happening over there. So this particular form that we are then using in the German language, it then becomes what we are then going to call as splittable verbs. Okay, so let's then have a look at what splittable verbs are then going to be like. So here, remember, in the case of the German language and this one, there's no need that these need to coincide. Quite often, something which is regular in the case of English could be in the German, it could become irregular, and vice versa. Nothing says that they are so identical to each other. They are two different languages. In English, we have the word start or begin. So begin for us is going to be only one single word. Oh, when do you begin? Oh, I have already begun. I have begun. So it is going to be coming in this particular form here. Now, in German, it's going to be consisting of anfangen. Anfangen. To start. To start. Wann fangen Sie an? Ich fange heute an. I begin today. Okay, I start today. I begin today. Starting or beginning. So now this split is going to happen only when it is used by itself. Meaning to say these two together is going to be type 1 sentence, simple present tense. Then you're going to have a simple past tense. This is going to be number 2. Then present perfect, this is the third one. Past perfect is number 4. Then you're going to have, this is going to be in the, these are all going to be complex sentences. So here we're going to then say this is going to be the future tense, which is going to be number 5, and then the modal, which we are then going to be using over here. Only, only here in time that in number 1 and number 2, you find that there is going to be a split. But when you're using it in this form over here as 3 and 4, you're going to use a gay in the middle. And when it comes to the last, you're going to use it in the infinitive form. You're going to use it in the infinite form. This is how a particular splittable verb is then going to work. So then you also have some verbs where you are going to put a kind of a prefix over there. But the prefix will change the meaning rather than anything else. So like now even in English, say for example, you've got form. You have deform. You have reform. You have perform. You have uniform. So you're putting a prefix, but the prefix, each prefix is changing the meaning of it. Okay, it cannot be that they're going to be all the same. So something similar happens in the case of the German language also. So what does it actually, in what is it that we're trying to arrive at over here? First thing is, you cannot know the meanings of all the ones. Whatever we have here is going to be only a sampling. But there is a possibility which you can then use. So first thing ఏంటంటే ఇక్కడ a prefix మనం పెడుతున్నాం. A prefix లో you are then going to find that there is going to be having a meaning. Ab ante from. So like now when you're talking about a train, you're going to then say, when does this train depart? Wann fährt dieser Zug ab? Abfahren. Moving away from. Suppose now you and I are here for the purpose of learning German. Do you know that Amitabh Bachchan has finally retired from this one? We're talking about things which are irrelevant. So what do we then say? That we are moving away from the topic, away from. So we're then going to then say we are sent from das Thema abgekommen. Abkommen is going to be to move away from. Duram velipodam. Okay, abkommen. These things are going to have a certain amount of this one. So like now, this ab, if I take it and put it in a different situation. Ippudu airport ki veltunnaru. Airport ki velte, you will then find that there are 2 signs over there. So usually airports and other public places in Germany, they also have a pictorial representation of whatever is then going to be there for people who are not well read. Okay, so ippudu deentlo em avutundi, you are then going to put a tail over here and you're going to put a tail over here. So this one you're going to then say is takeoff. This you're going to say is landing. So what are you going to write over here? You're going to say Abflüge. Departures. Abflüge. Abflüge. This is then going to be Ankunft. Coming to. To అనేది దీనికి వస్తుంది. An అంటే to వస్తుంది. So Ankunft. You're going to call this as Ankunft. Okay. Arrivals. Departures. So international Abflüge. So wo sind die Abflüge? Wo sind die Ankünfte? Where are the arrivals and where are the departures? Now, here, abnehmen, you want to reduce. So like now, let us say I want to reduce weight. Ich muss unbedingt abnehmen. I have to reduce. Taggala. Naku na nunchi bharam dooram cheyali. Abnehmen. Okay. Now, when you then come to things like, for example, so you got a train, you got this one, so, and now you got this abnehmen business. So the population is decreasing. So the population of tigers in India is then die Bevölkerung des Tigers nimmt ab. Nimmt ab. It is the population of tigers is then reducing. So we're going to use this particular form of using the ab. Duram velipodam. An అనేది వచ్చినప్పుడు is then going to be, as you have seen, it means two. Wann kommt der Zug an? When is the train coming? When is it arriving? Ankommen, to arrive. Okay, wann fangen wir an? When are you going to begin? So this thing is, anfangen is slightly different from something else. Then anhängen, attach. So you are attaching something to your email. Bitte bemerken Sie sich auf die Anhänger. Please note the attachments. So you're then putting a letter and you're putting Anhänger. Okay, then it is going to be anhängen. So ich habe etwas angehängt. Könntest du das bitte sehen? So can you please look at the attachments I have sent? So you don't need to know the specific ones because it's going to be a combination, and you will get used to this with time. Okay. So this is then going to be happening over here. Inseparables, we just had a look at it. They also have a certain amount of meaning. Okay. 1 minute. Yeah, okay, doesn't matter. They're taking care of it. So this is then going to be ent. Ent is then to move away from. So like now when you say, look at the ones and then you will understand. So it's then to entdecken. Ent is then to discover, to uncover. Decken is to cover. Entdecken, away from. Finally, cover thesis, what do you find? You are able to discover. You are uncovering something. So then fern is going to be duram. Entfernen, దూరం చేయటం. Like now when ఇప్పుడు పల్లీలు ఉన్నాయి, పల్లీకి దానికి ఆ షెల్స్ తీసేస్తున్నాం. సో షాలన్, ఏమంటారు, పైన ఉన్న తొక్కుని we call it a shala, shell. Okay, entfernen, entschalen. So entschalen అంటే ఆ పైన ఉన్న తొక్కని మనం దూరం చేస్తాం, ఒలవటం అన్నమాట. So we then use this entfernen. Kleiden ante battleatum. Entkleiden ante vippatiyam. Okay, so then atla, this has got a certain meaning, and you need to just go through this. Examples chusukoni, you try to then keep this. This is not a very important chapter per se, but you need to then know definitely about how it is used and so forth. So this one, when we say inseparable, I'm not going to then say, like in the case of separables, we don't treat it like that. We're going to treat this as a single unit only. It's not going to change itself. Okay, right. So this about covers this basics over here. So we are more or less finished with the verbs. There are still some more topics, but henceforth our focus is going to be, now that you know the structure of sentences and so forth, our focus is going to go more and more into speaking. Ippati nunchi our entire focus is going to move into this one. So what you try to do is try to get yourself as much vocabulary as possible. I haven't had a look at this one. Let us then check it out. What have you done with your homework? So now దాస్ దీన్ని ఎందుకు మీరు అండర్లైన్ చేసుకున్నారు?
So that's a conjunction in that sentence. So
I know. So అది అర్థం చేసుకోవడానికి మీరు చేసుకున్నారా? సరే. But here what I will also then suggest, to get used to the German way of then doing things is, the time is coming when I need you to start writing. So we are going to create questions. So you're now doing lesen. Okay, then you are also then doing a little bit of the schreiben. This is not schreiben, okay. We don't consider this as schreiben. Rendodi, instead of doing so much of this one, you should also try to do listening to some extent. Okay, so in the next session that we meet, which will be on Tuesday next, I will then teach you how to listen to different tapes. What is the technique and how you can then adapt that to whatever you want to do. We will take complex stuff and we will then look at it, number one. Rendodi, ikkada deentlo, so we're going to then look at a sentence, whatever we want to, when we come to writing, you are then going to learn how to take a sentence in English. Then I write the same sentence in English, but applying German rules of this one, and then doing the translation. This means to say that, say, for example, you are then going to, somebody says, do you do how? Okay, you understand the person is trying to say like this, and then you're going to then say, how do you do? So that means there is a syntax, there is a natural sequence that is supposed to be followed. So we ensure that this is then also going to happen with you. We will do that in the next session. Okay, right, we stop here. I'll say bye to you. Next time when you come, please come prepared with minimum of about 4, 5, 6 questions that you are going to ask. Okay, sometimes it might be with a partner. On Saturdays especially, I'm thinking of moving you to other people who can then be, with whom you can then learn to converse. Okay, so, because not only do we learn from our mistakes, we also learn from other people's mistakes. Okay, so let's then stop here. I'll say bye to you. Have a nice weekend. I'll then catch up with you on Tuesday. All the best.
Thank
Yeah.
you.